Welcome to Gold Star Classroom, the podcast where our panelists go back to school. We'll grade them on their answers to a variety of general knowledge and trivia questions. They don't know what we're going to ask, and we don't know what they're going to say. The student with the highest grade at the end of the class will win the coveted classroom prize, the Golden Banana. I'm your host and headmaster, Professor Jerry Jaffe. Welcome to today's episode of Gold Star Classroom. I am your host and headmaster, Dr. Jerry Jaffe, and as usual, it is my job to ask today's students questions across the width and breadth of learning, and as any good teacher would, grade their answers. It's my pleasure to introduce today's students. Sitting on my left is a guy I know called John Pridmore.
Hey.
Hey, nothing. What's up with you, John? Excellent. It's going well. How's it going for you?
I'm pretty good.
Excellent. And sitting on my right is the creator, producer, and artistic director of the Slow Mutants film production company, Jorge De La Rosa.
Hello.
Hello, Jorge. Thanks for coming to class today.
Thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure. Sitting on my far right is a comedian and a former student of this classroom, Sean Sullivan.
Hey, shout out goes to me listening to this later.
Hey, excellent. I hope that's true. We need all the hits we can get. And sitting on my far left is comedian Anthony Savat.
Hi there. I was going to bring you an apple, but it turns out there's a worm in it now.
I think you confused apples with tequila.
No, I confused a worm with something that's attached to my body.
Oh.
Please don't do that again. And still, tequila could be involved. I'd like to say that today's classroom is being recorded at the Stone Tavern in Kent, Ohio.
Hey. We're here.
Class.
And as I am grading all of your answers, at the end of today's class, the student with the highest grade will receive the coveted classroom prize, the Golden Banana.
I really, really want it.
I heard that, but you have to really, really earn it.
I think no matter who wins it, you're going to get it.
All right, let me just start off with a simple question, but it's going to open up a can of worms with a bunch of related questions. Let me ask you this. Pop rock song, Addicted to Love. By whom?
Robert Palmer.
5 points, John Pridmore.
Weird Al.
Bob Palmer.
I thought you were going to ask who parodied the song.
No.
And next, Addicted to Spuds is one of my favorite Weird Al songs.
Well, that's worth 4 points just for bringing obscurity. What year did the song Addicted to Love come out?
85.
86.
86, John Pridmore. He knows his love addiction. Which brings us to a real question. Is love addiction a real thing?
Yes.
We have one vote for yes.
Disgraced, Italian, romantic, drunkard.
That sounds like a different disorder.
I'm going to also say yes, because I think it's a game show hosted by Chuck Wolverine.
Honestly, if I get a text message from this girl, the girl I've been chasing for 2 years asked me to hang out during the show, and if she shows up, I'm going to bail on this, and you guys can screw off because I'm addicted to love.
That's no way to get a golden banana.
You're going to skip class?
That's how you give a golden
that's
banana.
how you deliver a golden banana. I'll play hooky.
That's a brown banana.
Oh,
The phrase love addict is a 20th century invention, although there might be metaphors or other types of permutations. Actually saying love addict entered the vernacular of the English language when?
like the 1920s? Does this have to do with Freud?
It is the 1920s. Freud is a little earlier, but Freud did have related theories that contribute to it, including in particular his Wolfman theory.
Where's A.J. Georgie? Other Ken comic, werewolf.
1928.
Okay.
1928.
How many points do I get?
What is, you get 1,928 points.
Yeah, I won.
What does SLAA stand for?
Sla.
Jorge, what does SLAA stand for?
Gotta be something.
Our classmates,
Is the S stand for science?
our students listening at home. S does not stand for science.
Students?
That does not stand for students.
I got nothing. Sex?
You got that.
Is it
my
right?
friend. Yes.
SLA is sex?
Sex, love,
Yes.
anonymous,
Oh, sex, love.
androids.
Is the A anonymous sex love?
Addicts, not.
John Fredmore got us there.
Son of a...
It was a group effort. Actually, it was a group effort, but Sean did not contribute to the group whatsoever on that. So minus 10 points to Sean.
Yeah.
I said slaw.
All right, I'll give you a point back for Slaw.
-9.
It is the 12-step program. Began in 1976. It is now a worldwide society with membership in over 43 countries. I know this is a shot in the dark type of question. Any idea how many official members are enrolled in SLAA worldwide?
15,000.
69.
Damn it! I'm giving Sean a point for that.
5.3 million.
That's three completely different numbers, by the way.
Yeah.
Jorge?
You gonna take a stab at this?
666.
666.
That number. We're at the Stone Tavern.
The fake number of the beast, not the real number of the beast.
Yes.
Anthony's answer was the closest. It's 16,000 members worldwide.
All
You
right.
said 15,000.
I know a little bit about this. I didn't study. I should be a member.
Yes, you should consider it. They do have a book out called Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous, 1986, going over the characteristics thereof.
You know who else should get that is my ex-wife. All of them.
There is at least one other important question about sex addicts that we need to cover, and that is this. The mental health care professionals use a particularly famous diagnostic book. Like every psychiatrist, psychologist, and therapist has it on their desk.
Is it a copy of the latest issue of Playboy magazine?
That's a different type of therapy, but I'm not going to say no completely. You know what the DSM is?
Is that like the number? No, I'm thinking ISBN.
Right, that's ISBN. No, that's the shorthand, colloquial way to say this book, which is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. I bring up that book because that's what therapists use when diagnosing various types of mental disorders. And there is one mental disorder, not one mental disorder, let me rephrase that, be a little more eloquent. One topic of interest to us is not included in this book.
Butt stuff?
Sex addicts?
Sex and love addicts are not included in this diagnostic manual.
Okay.
Because healthcare providers cannot agree on a definition, or if it is even actually an affliction, or just a pop psychology fake addiction.
What if there's someone who has a spell book because they're a sex wizard? Does that book come into play? Basically what I'm saying is someone stole that book from me and I need it back.
Huzzah.
I had it.
All right, well, while I sum your points from the first question, it has been pointed out to me that sometimes as a teacher I rely too much on criticism to tear my students down. So in order to build my students up, I hold in my hand a list of 101 random ways to praise a student. And I just wanted to tell you guys, you're a real trooper.
Thanks.
Singular to all four of us? Okay.
Yes, you can divide that one trooper amongst the
Yes.
fourth.
It is
You're each a
Memorial Day,
quarter
right?
of a real trooper.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's.
I
Yeah.
didn't even
Oh,
list.
that's.
I call the legs.
Both legs?
Yes.
That's so selfish.
Well,
Let me ask this question.
That was fun.
We're going to turn to, again, like the last question, we're going to start with a little pop culture, but it's going to lead us to more serious and deep topics. In the summer of 1958,
Buddy Holly.
no, minus 5 points. At what famous historical site did Groucho Marx dance the Charleston?
The site of the plane crash where Buddy Holly died.
Any other
yeah,
guesses
Levy.
before I affirm or deny?
58?
Yep.
No, I have no idea.
Berlin.
Jorge, contribute to class, please, young man.
Charleston, West Virginia.
Plus 5 points for knowing your geography. Of the answers offered so far, and I did notice that Anthony went twice, but his second answer was Berlin. It was in Germany somewhere.
Okay.
It was a historical site in Germany.
Oh, Auschwitz.
Not Auschwitz.
The Anne Frank house?
Not the Anne Frank house.
Nuremberg Ring?
No, nothing to do with Nuremberg.
Where else is there in Germany? The Autobahn?
Oktoberfest.
Well, knowing that it's 1958, and so therefore the years after World War II, some of your World War II/Nazi themed guesses are in the right vein,
Yeah.
but you haven't. No one has
Hitler's grave?
So close, so close.
The
Geiger
bunker,
counter is
man.
ticking.
The bunker where Hitler committed suicide?
Correct,
Oh.
Anthony Savat. Well, I'm giving a third of your points to John.
Yeah, I'll give him 2/3.
Okay.
How many is that? 2?
2/3.
2/3.
Okay. Yes, he danced on the remains of the Führer bunker, the
Nice.
place where
Good. That's what it should be done with.
He did not murder himself.
it was. By all accounts, it was quite an awkward 3 minutes.
Oh, he did that
After
for 3
which-
minutes. Jesus.
After which he is reported to have said, "It wasn't as funny as I thought it would be." We did mention already that Hitler committed suicide.
Allegedly, Jorge seems to have a different.
No, he lived his life out in, where was that? Chile
Argentina.
or Argentina?
Argentina.
Charleston?
Yeah.
Charleston, Argentina. That was his
Charleston, Argentina.
assumed name. Schicklgruber, though, was his actual birth name, right? Adolf Schicklgruber, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway,
I did not jot that one down.
But yeah,
I
that-
will check it out and retroactively give you 5 points if that's correct.
a lot of sources, though, do suggest that that is actually what happened to Hitler.
That he died
No,
in that
that
bunker?
that he actually didn't. That was hogwash.
Yeah, but like
Well-
a lot of sources, like my history books, say that he did die.
Yes.
So.
As a place of intellectual and higher learning, we eschew conspiracy theories for confirmed, studied narratives. I will say, though, that the Russians destroyed his body, and so there are no physical remains left, which certainly fuels conspiracy theories.
Sure.
Um,
Although from my accounts, the Russians did hate his guts, so they may have just dismembered him for the fun of it.
and a few days before, Mussolini had been dragged out into the streets and executed,
Yeah.
which was contributing to his decision to commit suicide, because he didn't want to have that happen to him, apparently. How did he commit suicide?
I know. Cyanide.
We have 2 votes for cyanide. Anyone
Yeah.
wish to offer other votes?
Oh, I thought he put a pistol to his head.
Sean?
Gas chamber.
Ironic, but pistol to the head.
Was it? Did he make his girl take the cyanide then?
And her name was?
Eva Braun.
Eva Braun,
Oh, yeah.
cyanide capsule. That is correct. He
Okay.
did. Again, did he make her? We'll never know what happened in that bunker. He did have a gun, though. So.
Yeah, he was very persuasive.
Yeah.
Eat this.
Hitler shot himself and Braun bit into a cyanide capsule. Do you know when? By which I mean the date. The date of Hitler's death?
Oh no.
Or do you know the year?
43, right?
44.
40.
The war ended in
46?
45. It was 44.
But we took care of the Germans before the
Before,
Japanese. Yeah.
Well, we do say the war ended in 45.
Yeah.
So, Sean, you are correct about that.
Plus like 1,945 points.
Wait, was
Not
Pearl
until-
Harbor? Was that 42?
I don't have Pearl Harbor in my lesson plan, but I thought that was 41.
41. Okay, so maybe 42 then was when we.
No, Germany and
'cause-
Japan both fell in 45, about 6 months apart.
Oh, so it was 45 then.
Correct.
Oh, okay. Well, you just told us. So
Correct.
You're correct.
Well, I'm here to help. I'm here to educate. It was in 1945. Probably no one wants to guess the date, the actual date.
June 6th.
I get 5 points
44
for
was
guessing.
D-Day.
an
Well, no, that was
actual-
D-Day. So
Yes, I
if
thought
it was
that
in
sounded
45, it would have been early, right? When did Germany fall? March? Was it March of 45?
It's February 13th, 1945.
Was it?
April 20th.
February 14th. He was a hopeless romantic.
And so are you, Sean Sullivan.
Was it April?
It was April 30th.
April 30th. Okay, April 20th was
his
Hitler's birthday,
birthday,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. And
I wonder how he celebrated.
and a very legendary holiday where you smoke weed.
Yes. Well, you kind of have to at this point.
I think that.
They make
Um,
Hitler, you're screwing me even now.
Since you mentioned Hitler's birthday, I'll give bonus points if anyone knows what year he was born in.
It was 1889.
Bonus points, Anthony Savat.
Why do you-
Ha!
Yeah, why? Yeah.
I love World War II. I've told you this. I've made no outrageous claims.
Except that you love World War II.
Well, that's an outrageous thing to love, I suppose. Hey, I can't love these women that I love, so I'll love World
He's a
War II.
love addict.
Yeah,
He's
come on.
addicted to loving.
Then the sex. I sex World War II sometimes.
One more. So, speaking of blitzkriegs, One more. Random Hitler-related question. What year did he become chancellor? Wait. No.
1933.
Correct. 1933.
Oh, we finally have something out of Sullivan. Other than 69. You get 69. Now we'll give you 33 points.
Why are you keeping score?
Because I want to.
He's an accountant. He can't help himself.
Yeah, it's just compulsive.
Numbers and where they go is what he does. Oscar Wilde once said,
Oh.
education is an admirable thing, but it is well to remember from time to time that nothing that is worth knowing can be taught. And based on most of your answers, thank you for proving Oscar Wilde's theory. I'm not even quite sure what that means, but I just wanted to say it so badly.
Oscar Wilde, side note, was gay.
He was gay before there was gay.
Yeah, he was
He was
like
the first modern gay person.
wasn't he like flamboyant about it too? Like, yeah, I'm gay, everyone, and it's awesome.
Well, but it wasn't a matter of, like, if you think of a gay person today, it wouldn't be the same scene because they didn't have gay people then.
Okay.
So his trial kind of created the archetype of the modern gay person.
Interesting. Okay.
But that digression aside,
We're all just trying to be Oscar Wilde.
Yeah.
and at least somebody is. Here's a random statistic for you. I know this is just a guess, but it'll also lead us to some more interesting questions. This is in the United States, not worldwide. In the United States, in 2013, how many UFO sightings were reported?
145.
We have Jorge's answer is 145.
51.
Sean's going lower than that, 51. Remember, this is a
And this-
country of over 300 million people,
Yeah,
This
that's
is
what I was
worldwide.
thinking.
Or
half of whom have below average
I'm
intelligence.
sorry, I just asked
I
if
was
it was
gonna
worldwide.
say,
If you
like-
said it was this country.
Yeah,
I was
no,
going to
this
say
country.
like 50, probably like 57,000.
57,000. So
I'm gonna go with 10,000.
10,000 is the closest. In 2013, there were 6,500 reported UFOs.
Not as many crazy people as I thought.
Yeah.
But more than Sean and Jorge thought.
Yeah.
I was in the right area.
Speaking of the right area, there are
He
three.
said 51. Just
We're getting
you
there.
didn't get that.
We're getting there.
Yes, yeah.
Besides your 51 answer, there are 3 states in which have the most reportings of UFOs.
West Virginia, Alabama, Louisiana.
None of them.
Texas, New Mexico, and Oregon.
None of those.
Hawaii, Alaska, and Vermont.
Well, we're going to let one of these two
It's
students
Nevada,
go first.
California, and
Rhode Island, Delaware, and Connecticut.
None of those. When you went twice, you did mention one of them on your second
Hawaii
answer.
and Alaska and
What was the other
New
one you
York.
said? Nope.
Florida?
Arizona,
Didn't someone say that? No.
No.
I mean New Mexico. No.
Vermont.
I said Vermont, didn't I?
That was in
The
your second.
Okay.
Yeah. And Maine are the 3 states
Maine.
with the most UFO sightings.
Hmm.
Of course, you know what the phrase UFO actually stands for.
Yeah.
So someone say it.
Unidentified
flying object.
sex orifice. But,
John was right, but Anthony was even more right.
Yes.
Yeah, unidentified flying object.
Yeah.
Of course, skeptics and experts make it a point to point out that is not synonymous with flying saucers or aliens. It just means you see something in the sky and you don't know what it is. For many decades, the Air Force famously, would follow up on reports of such unidentified flying objects. There is a percentage of how many UFOs, sightings, when investigated, are easy to explain. So it's between 1 and 99.
4.
Easy to explain?
Yeah.
Okay.
76.
Your answer is closer because it's a much bigger number.
Yes.
77.
95. 95% of UFO sightings when investigated are easy to explain. They're lights in the sky, they're blimps, they're satellites. However, there's a specific thing which, not just in the U.S. but globally, has caused a spike in unidentified flying object sightings around the world.
Legalization of moonshine and marijuana.
drones.
Jorge finally gets an answer right.
Yeah.
Drones. Both, over in the United States and overseas. And, of course, we think military when we think drones, but drones have other uses, too. So
Oh, thankfully.
these things fly around and people don't know what they are, and they go, "What's that thing flying in the sky?"
And that's the UFO at that point.
You mentioned 51, Mr. Sarcasm.
What?
In the 40s, actually, there were two famous UFO sightings that to a certain degree maybe inaugurated the modern craze of UFOs. One is the more famous one.
Roswell,
Obviously. I was looking up the Roswell one just to jot down some notes. In 1948, a rancher stumbled across a 200-yard-long swath of rubber strips, tinfoil, wood sticks, and Scotch tape in Roswell, New Mexico, near an Air Force base. And I try to imagine, like, what an innocent error that would be that you'd find, like, tinfoil and Scotch tape and think aliens have been here. There was another sighting earlier in 1948. This is not as famous, so I just wanted to make sure people knew. This was in the state of Washington. And the thing that's interesting about this is that when this guy reported what he saw, he specifically used the phrase, lights of saucers skipping over the water. And that being reported nationwide is what created the phrase flying saucers.
I thought it was my ex-wife throwing the dinner plates at me.
Let me just...
Are you like Henny Youngman?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I've sadly experienced that as well. There is, of course, a contemporary famous rock band whose name is a synonym for UFOs, or for UFOs. Of course, there's a band called UFO, by the way. But besides that band, there's another even more famous...
Is it U2? No.
No, well, that is a bomber.
Yeah.
Airplane.
Jefferson Starship.
During World War... Good. 5 bonus points
The
just for
Foo
bringing that up.
Fighters.
Correct. That's the one I was fishing for.
Which one is it?
The Foo Fighters.
Oh.
The Foo Fighters. During...
Which was named after... or is that a thing? Or
No, go ahead.
It was named after Barney Google's car thing that he drove. It was a Foo Fighter. It was like Barney Google. It was an old comic strip from like the 20s.
I had never heard that before.
Yeah, look it up.
I will look that up, and if it's correct, I'll retroactively give you 5 bonus points.
Yeah.
I do want to ask one more question on the topic of UFOs, and that is, there are sighting stories, there's Bible stories that are supposed to be about UFOs, UFO enthusiasts, but like how far back are there stories of UFOs? But what is the oldest story in the colonized United States history of a UFO sighting? Any idea? How about the century or the city?
New York.
Richmond, Virginia.
Good guess. New York, of course, an early colony as well. And the century or the year or the approximate year.
1700s.
New York.
1700s? This is like a game of Clue all of a sudden.
I mean, my gut says Jamestown 1600s because there was probably immediately ridiculous nonsense happening.
I'm going to say Providence, Rhode Island in the 18th century.
It is the 1600s. In 1639, in the city of Boston.
Oh, of course.
And
It's lunatics.
correct.
They're all drunk.
Although, interestingly, not that this makes it right, the person who was the witness who reported it, like in letters and later on reported it, was the governor of the colony of Massachusetts, who reports seeing strange lights over the Charles River. And by the way, there's a neighborhood on the Charles River called Charleston. So we've now mentioned that in all 3 of our topics.
And that's the dance that Groucho Marx danced on Hitler's execution site. He did the Charleston, right?
Yes.
Was it the Charleston
That is reportedly it was the Charleston.
Wonderful.
All right. We've reached the part of the class where I'm going to sum up your grades and we'll decide a classroom winner. But before I do, I'm going to give you all one more chance to improve your grades by having extra credit. So for extra credit, I'm going to give you all a topic. None of you have heard this topic ahead of time. And you each have a chance to share your own trivia information about this topic. And the topic for today's extra credit is the Earth.
The Earth.
Mm-hmm. What do you know about the Earth? You must know some fact or trivia
Bill Nye is on Netflix right now, all 31 episodes. So check that out.
Just to say, Netflix is in no way a sponsor of this
But
podcast, nor do they endorse anything that we say.
But Bill Nye is, though.
Well, I love any man in a bow tie, Bill Nye or Doctor Who.
Well, I'll tell you this: Bentry Coffee Roasters and Taco Tano's sponsor my comedy show here at Stone Tavern, so I'll throw them out there.
Is that an Earth trivia?
Here's what I know about Earth. It's big enough that we have an active core of our planet, which means the surface is active. So there's geological formations like mountains and oceans and whatnot. The moon is much smaller than Earth, does not have any geological activity.
Right.
And the Earth is roughly 24,000 miles in circumference and 8,000 miles in diameter.
Correct.
And the core of the planet is primarily nickel and iron.
Mm-hmm.
It's molten.
Right. And
Wait, is the very core solid and then surrounded by molten? Or the core is completely molten?
The core is completely molten, according to the movie The Core.
Okay.
the documentary, The Core.
We have an atmosphere.
So we have plate tectonics.
Yes.
The moon does not, but
Exactly.
the moon does have valleys and surface structures.
Well, craters due to impact because they don't have an atmosphere, which we do.
Right.
Meteors and asteroids have crashed into the Earth, but our atmosphere does a really good job of burning the majority of them up
Right.
before they can impact the surface. The moon doesn't have that, so there are surface structures. Right. And
our plate tectonics ends up erasing most of it as well.
That too. And I want to say our atmosphere is like 8% oxygen, 72% nitrogen.
My God, your answer is like a Judd Apatow movie. When's it going to end?
And there's some other stuff in there too.
Okay.
You could have edited out like 45 minutes of that and still been funny.
Okay.
Is it hydrogen?
Jorge, what do you know about the Earth?
I don't know anything about this planet.
How about the dirt, the soil?
Yeah.
You're a man of the land.
Yeah.
Yes, tell us something about dirt.
There are worms that live in it.
Thank you. There are worms that live in the dirt.
That's it.
That is worth 111 squiggly points for you.
Thanks.
John Pridmore, tell us something about the Earth.
Earthworms' average lifespan is 6 to 8 years.
So that's minus 10 points. That's trivia about earthworms, not about the
Well,
Earth.
he just said earthworms. I was playing off his answer. Let's see, the Earth. I don't know. What happens on Earth? Why are you making booby things at me?
For the students listening at home, Anthony Zavala is actually making round hand gestures like the globe.
Oh. Well, no, like I know what it is. Like I've heard of it before. I'm blanking on trivia right now.
The Earth is
What's
flat.
What's your favorite city on Earth?
My favorite city on Kent, Ohio.
Wrong answer.
Yeah, I know.
You had a chance.
I know.
Well,
I don't know.
we've reached the part of the show where I have to finish tallying up the grades and give out
Yeah.
the coveted classroom prize. You know, when you jumped in there with
When you
earthworms,
invited me down
You
here,
got
I thought we
a lot
were
of-
playing Russian roulette. I don't know.
Did you bring a gun? We're in the basement of the Stone Tavern.
so you will get for your score, Jorge, worms, but I don't have any golden bananas for you. Instead, the winner of today's golden banana goes to John Pridmore,
Oh,
Yay.
good.
who kept setting up answers and knocking them down, except in the extra credit,
Yeah,
where
I
he
have no
totally
idea.
jeopardized
Yeah, no.
handing it over to Anthony, who started scoring lots of points in his extra credit until I had to keep listening to it. And then it came to an ex-wife-esque drone, and it just sucked all the points out. So it just remains for me, your host, to thank you, my students, Jorge,
Thank you very much, Jerry.
Sean,
Thanks.
Anthony,
Screw off. I knew everything about the Earth.
and John.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Sean
And-
thought the Earth was round.
And students listening at home, thank you as well.
Gold Star Classroom is written and produced by Jerry Jaffe. Our producer and engineer is Stephen Gutierrez. Original music composed and produced by Jeff Geddert. Mr. Geddert is also our assistant producer. All commentary and opinions expressed by guests of Gold Star Classroom are meant for entertainment purposes only. For Gold Star Classroom, I'm Jerry Jaffe.